Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks, and we are back once again. We're not in the workbench. We're kind of doing something pretty reckless right now, but yeah, this is just a fun little clip that I had. We are going to be working on this turbo fan, and then we will hopefully get that copy and pasted onto our big plane today. And then I also want to hopefully start on some of the hard points for the planes, the mounting on the planes, which if you guys haven't seen, we do have a build challenge going on right now. There is a template out on the workshop where you can find the hard point and all the specifications to build a plane for this carrier. I did update it recently, so if you guys don't have a physics sensor on it that's facing upwards, if it's still facing downwards, you should re-download it. I did do a couple small tweaks, but the dimensions really haven't changed, so it's mostly stuff on the logic side of things. But yeah, definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And I'm really excited to see what a lot of you come up with. It's super cool, kind of checking it out throughout the day in our Discord. That's where all of the submissions will be. So if you also haven't checked that out, there will be a link down below. But enough of that. I will quit yapping. We are on to working on this giant turbo fan. So it's really just a giant turbo fan. I'm not going to really get too much more into the details, but it is a pretty fun little project in my mind. I wanted something that was pretty massive for this plane just because this plane is pretty massive, so I wanted something that kind of scaled correctly. And these engines are really cool because when you stand in front of them, you don't even come up to the center line, so you could tell they're quite large, and I'm trying to use these rotor blades in the middle so we can maximize the amount of thrust that we're getting out of it, and that is pretty cool. If you guys haven't been keeping up, one of the nice things about this airplane is we can keep this giant aircraft carrier in the sky with one of these engines, and only running at about 50 RPS. So we can keep this 77 meter long aircraft with 100,000 liters of fuel in the air with one jet engine that's not even running at full throttle, which is great. Really good for the fuel efficiency. So, but if you guys want, I think I have this engine saved. I probably can put it on the workshop. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in. It is pretty overscaled for most things you would build in Stormworks without a modded workbench, but that's all right. I do think it's fun, and it is still a pretty cool little project. And just to be clear here, I'm not really playing any games with like XML or anything like that too. So this engine is just when you get the rotors on the jet engine, I don't know, I didn't really work too hard on this. I'm honestly not a jet engine expert in this game. I would be able to tell you a lot more about the modular diesel engines, but yeah, there's no like shenanigans going on. I didn't do any XML work or anything like that. The engines are just being fed in by one fuel pipe, and the rest is just one part of the engine. So, and when I say that, I mean I'm not doing like multiples of anything. So there's not like multiple turbines or combustion chambers or anything like that. So it is just a literal bare bones engine. It has a high bypass fan. You can see I'm actually going to get rid of that high bypass fan just because I can get I can kind of change our throttle with the collective input on the pit or on the rotors. So I would like to have control of the throttle that way. The bypass fan produces thrust constantly depending on the RPS of the engine. So I didn't want that because I don't want the plane to just be running at idle and then moving forward. And we can fix this pretty easily with the propeller aircraft just because they have that collective node. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I will say that will change, but aesthetically, the rest of this is pretty similar. I'm not going to get too much into this. In fact, I think we're going to try to get the engine kind of cranked out pretty fast in this episode because I do want to do some work on the actual airplane, and I do want to get these mounted to the actual airplane. But yeah, there's nothing too fancy about these. This is really more of a fun aesthetic project than anything. I didn't really put too much logic into these. In fact, the PIDs I'm actually not really happy with right now, so I got to go back and do that. Lucky me, guys. Everybody's favorite activity, tuning PIDs. But just because I don't want to spend too much time on this jet engine part here, we're going to hop into a time lapse real quick, guys. I will talk to you in just about a minute or two. All right, well, we got quite a lot done in that little cutscene, and I'm sorry, guys. We did rush through quite a bit of it. If you guys want me to go in depth as to like what I did or how I built it, I can talk about it a little more. But I didn't really want to bore you. Like I said, this isn't like a super complex engine. It's just a jet engine that gets geared up. It goes into a generator that goes into 4 rotors in the front, or 3, I think. Could be wrong. I don't know. Don't quote me. Anyways, we are just giving this thing a little bit of a test fin. Now, it does have some control surfaces in the rear there that I added more for the aesthetic purposes, but they do work, so we can fly this thing, which is kind of funny. So it will actually come in handy later on when I add the thrust spoiler to the big plane, because then we can have the fins inside the engine kind of adjust trim automatically as you increase thrust. And this is only a problem in my plane because our thrust is not on center mass, so we will have an offset force making the plane kind of tilt into the ground because the engines are pointed above the center of mass. So if we can add a little bit of pitch up into the trim, that will help us a lot, especially when we're going a lot faster, producing a lot more thrust with our afterburners and that kind of thing. So that's actually a really handy thing. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but yeah, we're working on the plane now, guys. So yeah, there's really not all that much I do want to do. I wanted to get the hard points on the plane so we can start messing around with it in the videos. But I will say, if you guys are following along, these hard points are not the current ones. And I said that earlier in this episode, but I just want to emphasize this. Guys, these are not the current hard point. The current hard point is on my Steam Workshop. If you're not sure if you have the current download, just unsubscribe and resubscribe from it. It'll download the latest version. I did update it recently, but just giving you guys a heads up that this is not what the final ones look like. This is just for me to test with. But anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to work on a little bit today, just so we could start figuring out that whole disaster of how will people mount to the plane, and that is a very, very good question. So we spent a long time kind of thinking about that, working on that. I asked a lot of the people in the Discord a lot of their opinions, and so we have come to what I proposed as our final solution, which is each hardpoint is going to get a physics sensor, but only one that can broadcast. So I was really against doing the physics sensors for a while, but I just, after watching you guys try to dock for a while, I realized that it's gonna kind of be necessary. So each one will have a physics sensor, and they will also have a beacon light. A lot of people kind of suggested both of those things. The beacon light is probably going to be a lot easier logic-wise on you, but probably not as accurate. And the physics sensor will be probably the best way to do it, but a lot more work. So for all of you that kind of suggested that, thank you. That's kind of the route we're going with. If you haven't seen how it works, there will basically be an arm that pushes the plane down. There's a connector on that arm. Once you connect to that arm, it will pull you up into a hard point. The hard point can refuel the plane and you can hop out. So that's kind of the gist of it. I'm not going to get into it too much just because, like I said, this design will change, but I did want to get these put onto the ship. And once we get these onto the ship and copy and pasted, I wanted to attach my little combat club or a cub and just kind of mess around with it, you know. And this is the first time, you know, all of the other footage of this thing flying with carrier planes that you guys have seen has happened after the fact. So this was like the first time I tried releasing a plane and docking a plane and that kind of stuff. So I want to get these hooked up, and then we'll go back into some more gameplay, and we'll kind of just mess around with the carrier for a little bit. Now, I have played quite a bit of multiplayer with you guys since then. I keep getting distracted because I've been traveling too much, and I don't want to do anything but have fun when I get home instead of record videos for you guys. So I do apologize. I'm actually recording this video the morning of. It is currently 6:40 in the morning, guys. I'm recording this video to get it out for you, so you're welcome. Little morning voice crack for you too. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of all we're gonna do in this episode. So I want to get these shaped up. Let me get one of the combat cubs copy and pasted to it, and we'll just go take the big boy off, and I'll show you some of the work that I've done off camera, because there definitely has been some. So yeah, you guys don't really need to see all that, but I did add this, which is kind of cool. This is like a service bay. We will come back down here and make this look a lot better, but this is kind of like an entry for the technicians and a lot of the maintenance crew. So that would also be a good entrance for getting in the plane if it was just parked and not being used, not, plugged in or anything like that, just kind of parked. But anyways, I've added very, very basic controls. I did get the engine hooked up, and you guys will see that once I get into the air. So we are hooked up. Now, I just wanted to kind of get this thing in the air, get you guys some shots of me playing with it, just so you can kind of get a feel as to what we're doing, how big it is, and also I just think it's kind of fun, and it gives you a little bit of inspiration to get the project done once you kind of see the concept start to come together a little bit. That was a perfect takeoff. So take notes. Anyways, so we're in the air now. I'm just going to get some altitude. The orange key here is just our gyro. So none of the advanced controls are set up yet. I don't really have flaps. I don't really have auto throttle. I don't really have the afterburners is still on a button. So a lot of this is obviously going to change, but I just wanted to see if I could get in here and dock. And this is kind of where I learned quickly that there's going to need to be some sort of assistance here. Like, you can't just hop in the plane and connect it to another plane. It's just not that simple. So this is kind of where I did a lot of the testing right here. I didn't record it all, but I want to show you guys some of the footage. And I played around with this for probably a good couple hours, just trying to see if it's something you could kind of learn and get better at, or if it's something that really would benefit from like an assistance. So yeah, that's just kind of something I worked on. But anyways, we are here. This is a version of my Combat Cub, the open top version that has my helmet HUD attached to it. Now, I did goof up because, and you guys can see, I did goof up because I did not add a release button to the Combat Cub. So I'm going to need to get back in the plane, and that's kind of tricky. But not too bad. This thing is pretty big, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I didn't add a release button onto the plane, and you can see me getting around in the inside is really not going well right now. But I want to slow this plane down before I take off the other plane, just because I feel like we're probably going a little too fast. So it doesn't actually look too fast. It's only about 115. That was reading in knots, not meters per second. So we're not really going that fast. Should be able to hopefully keep up. And if not, I don't know, maybe we'll shoot the engines and just shoot the thing down. But let's get this thing started up. And just give it 1 second. It looks like this is the open top version that does not have my helmet HUD, funny enough. So I guess that's not a thing. But anyways, you can see it's kind of interesting out here. Yeah, I forgot. I did add the release. It was just on the trigger. So let's get throttled up, and let's see if we can kind of follow this thing around. I love the views of it. It feels like an Ace Combat game. I know there's probably a lot of Ace Combat fans watching, just because if you play Stormworks, there's a lot of crossover there. Anyways, I love it. It feels so cool flying like next to a plane this size, and I've already smashed my rotor. So I guess the whole we're gonna redock thing is a lost cause. It's not too super stable. I do apologize about the screen shaking. That's just me being stupid. So next time I'll try not to crash the plane, and that way you guys can get a better video. But I guess since we're not gonna catch up, I'll just start firing stuff away. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all we had in store for today's episode. I know today's episode was a little weird, little all over the place, but I did want to give you a dedicated video of us building the turboprop and the hardpoints. But obviously a lot of tweaks are going to come and change. So I did want to also get some gameplay footage in there, just because I just mix it up a little bit. The videos so far have just been a lot of just time-lapse build, and I always try to tell myself I want to get more gameplay into the videos, so I guess I'm actually trying to do that right now. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got for this one. So as always, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this build series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps me out a lot, and it helps the channel out a lot. And the more people we can get in on these builds, the better. I like to do build challenges. I like to involve you guys. I like to get your input, and I especially like seeing you guys play with the creation and enjoy the creation when they're done. So that's kind of half the reason I'm here. I'm here because you know, I like doing the YouTube thing, but I also want to kind of teach you guys things, and I also want to share things with you. So that's kind of the whole thing. But you can see we did actually reconnect there, which I don't know how that even remotely happened, but it did. So I don't know. I'm gonna just write that off as a one-off kind of thing. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you in this one. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next one, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.